Welcome to This Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled you're here today because we are tackling a massive reality check that's sitting right at the center of our digital landscape right now. We're going to pull back the curtain on the creator economy and look at this growing crisis where skyrocketing industry metrics are colliding head-on with widespread, systemic algorithmic burnout. Get ready because we aren't just looking at the problem today. We're actually going to build a strategic playbook for true digital resilience. So let's just dive right into the sheer scale of this space. On paper, the creator economy has literally never looked healthier. We're talking about a staggering $250 billion global valuation. And that is backed by a massive talent pool of over 200 million people worldwide who actively identify as digital content creators. It honestly looks like a modern-day gold rush, right? But that surface data is hiding a much darker reality. You really have to contrast that $250 billion number with this stark reality right here. Less than 4% of active creators actually earn a sustainable, full-time live-in. That's it, 4%. There is this severe wealth concentration at play, where the top 0.1% absorb the vast majority of sponsorships and platform payouts, while millions of others are out there just struggling to pay rent. To dismantle this illusion, our roadmap today is going to cover the creator illusion, the algorithmic treadmill, the synthetic threat, revenue volatility, and the psychological toll. And then we'll wrap up with a highly actionable resilience playbook. Starting with Section 1, the creator illusion, and really the end of the golden age. The immediate problem on the ground right now is that creators across all the major platforms, we're talking YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Substack, they're currently reporting completely unprecedented rates of mental exhaustion and sudden, unexplainable revenue drops. And this is happening despite all that headline industry growth we just talked about. That brings us to Section 2, the algorithmic treadmill, where everyone is competing from scratch. The crucial point we have to understand is how the underlying architecture of digital platforms has fundamentally changed how audiences actually end up seeing content. We have undergone a massive, massive architectural shift. Think back to the old social graph. You built a follower base of, say, 500,000 subscribers, and a reliable baseline percentage of them would actually see your posts. Well, today, we've completely shifted into the AI recommendation graph. Follower counts, they're mostly just vanity metrics now. Instead, predictive algorithms evaluate every single upload in total isolation, basing it all on real-time retention and micro-engagements. You don't have a guaranteed audience anymore. You literally start from zero every single time you hit publish. And this shift has trapped creators on an absolute algorithmic treadmill because these recommendation feeds are just starving for constant user retention. They demand a relentless posting cadence. It's kind of like having a boss who texts you at 3 a.m. and completely panics if you don't immediately reply. If you take even a 3-day break, the model flags your account as inactive, and your distribution drops heavily. So creators are essentially forced into extreme content homogenization. We're using the same trending audio, the same formulaic hooks, just to feed this unfeeling machine that heavily punishes you for taking a breath. Now for Section 3, the synthetic threat, or the era of infinite automated content. Because the disruption gets even more aggressive for human creators who are already fighting so hard just for algorithmic attention. Over the last 18 months or so, automated content farms have really entered the chat. Using just a 30-second source video, platforms can now generate these hyper-realistic AI avatar clones. And these automated channels can pump out 50 to 100 high-definition, fully scripted short videos a day across dozens of different accounts. They never sleep, they never burn out, and they cost a fraction of what human production does. But you know what the most terrifying part is? The algorithms treat these synthetic videos exactly the same as human content in the feed. Which leads into Section 4, revenue volatility and the platform trap. Because as if fighting an infinite synthetic supply wasn't enough, we really need to examine the severe financial assault creators are facing directly from the tech platforms themselves. Look, to protect their corporate profit margins in a pretty tough economy, centralized platforms have quietly restructured the deal. Platform commission fees have escalated from traditional 20% cuts up to a staggering 50%. On top of that, fixed creator funds are being drastically diluted simply because they're being split among tens of millions of new channels. And finally, platforms are just taking larger shares of ad revenue overall, which completely shifts the financial risk right onto the creator's shoulders. The result of these margin shifts is a genuinely terrifying financial reality. A silent, unannounced algorithmic tweak can cause a creator's income to absolutely plummet. Imagine this. You earn $15,000 in month 1 when the algorithm happens to favor you. And then you just plummet to $1,800 in month 2. And the kicker? There is zero explanation and absolutely zero recourse from the platform. This extreme financial volatility exposes the absolute danger of building a business entirely on what strategists call rented land. If you spend years gathering millions of followers on a centralized social feed, you don't actually own the underlying audience data. If the platform changes its rules or, heaven forbid, bans you, your entire business vanishes overnight. True stability only exists in owned infrastructure. We're talking about controlling direct emails, private RSS feeds, and your own distribution mechanisms. Moving into Section 5, the psychological toll, or what happens when identity becomes product. Let's look at how this crazy financial volatility and algorithmic pressure creates a massive, deeply personal psychological burden. Unlike a traditional job where, you can just close your laptop at 5 p.m. and go be yourself, a creator's personal identity is their product. They are monetizing their personal vulnerability to keep audiences engaged. And this leads to profound parasocial exhaustion. When your entire self-worth becomes intertwined with real-time quantitative metrics like views and comments, a simple dip in the algorithm suddenly feels like a direct personal rejection of who you are as a human being. And this psychological strain deepens into complete digital identity alienation when creators see unauthorized or sometimes even officially licensed AI deepfakes of themselves outperforming their own genuine human efforts. They face some serious existential dread. They're forced to ask a really terrifying question. If the synthetic clone performs better than me, what is my actual value as an authentic human creator? Which brings us to our final section, Section 6, the Resilience Playbook. It's time to reclaim independence. That alienation is a chilling place to be, but the good news is we can definitely fight back. Based on analysis from top experts in the space, we've distilled 3 precise, actionable steps to escape this algorithmic treadmill and fundamentally restructure how you operate online. Number 1, migrate to owned infrastructure. Number 2, shift to direct-to-community monetization. And number 3, establish strict digital boundaries. Let's break down exactly what this looks like in practice. The required shift for creators today is absolutely massive. You have got to move away from the old vulnerable model and become a resilient media boutique. You stop relying on algorithms and start syndicating through direct emails and decentralized protocols. You completely ditch those volatile programmatic ad splits in favor of high-value products, courses, and in-real-life events for your true superfans. But most importantly, you have to stop acting like a solo gig worker without a backup plan. Establish an LLC and maintain 6 to 12 months of operational cash reserves so you can weather any algorithmic dry spell. And from a mental health perspective, this mindset shift is vital. Crucially, if you want to protect against burnout, you must decouple your personal self-worth from the machine. You literally have to train yourself to view analytics as impersonal business data points, not psychological report cards. Set strict, non-negotiable off-camera hours. Keep your private hobbies truly private. And assert your digital identity rights by trademarking your assets and issuing takedowns for unauthorized clones. As we wrap up this explainer, I really want you to take a second and reflect on your own relationship with the digital content you interact with every single day. The era of naive platform dependence, it's officially over. So whether you're a creator, a marketer, or just an avid viewer, ask yourself, have you experienced algorithmic burnout or subscription fatigue recently? And how are you adapting your own digital habits to cope? And finally, I'll leave you with this provocative thought to chew on. Platforms are going to keep moving the goalposts to protect their margins. Automated AI farms are going to continue flooding our feeds with infinite, hyper-optimized synthetic content. So, what is your irreplaceable value? Because ultimately, genuine human trust, real vulnerability, and true community remain the absolute only moats we have left. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer today. Stay curious and keep learning.